Hey everyone, how are you? Good afternoon and welcome to mydrumlife.com. I'm JS, and today's class, which is usually for the members of the site, mydrumlife.com, we do a live class on Saturday, but today, which is different, I decided to link this broadcast to my Facebook page and on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, and do it publicly and do it free and do it live for everyone, because I'm going to talk today about back pain. As I said, this is usually an update about the site, what's going on, our lessons and stuff like that, but we're going to turn it into something different today, and that's, again, I don't mean to be redundant, but it is live, and that is why I'm doing this, because of back pain. So many drummers have back pain. I'm one of them, and I mean from lower back all the way up to my head. And that's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about the different areas of our back and how we might be getting back pain and why we might be getting back pain. And then we're going to talk about just a couple of things that we can do to kind of alleviate that. I'm not going to take up too much time. This will probably be 20 minutes, maybe 20, 25 minutes. And of course, I'm not going to give away too much because I am currently, no joke, in the process of filming my DVD, my very first DVD. And I do cover some of these topics in there with some exercises and stuff. But after today's class, I have to clear everything out of the studio so we can rebuild the kit right on camera for a part of the DVD. But anyway, look, you know, we sit behind our drum sets. Now, I'm not talking about any aspects of our life. You know, we help our friends move and we bend over, and the next day we wake up and we go, oh, my back hurts. I did something wrong to my back. I did something wrong to my back. 9 out of 10 times, the only thing you did to your back was worked out some muscles in your back, and now they're sore. The same as when you would do curls and your back would be sore. You know, no pain, no gain. But we've been raised to really just cater to our backs, bend with our knees, be really careful, don't do anything with your back, that so many of us walk around with undeveloped muscles along our spine. So that's the first thing that happens a lot of times is people feel a little pain because they did something. Then the next thing they do is they take off a few days from work and they lay on their back until that muscle gets soft again and they've lost the development that they were starting to get. Granted, people do have injuries, people do suffer injuries, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what does often happen. Now, me personally, when I was 18 years old, which is, I did the math earlier today, 29 years ago, man. Such a long time, right? 28, 38, 47, yeah. 29 years ago, I was in the island of Montserrat with my father, and we climbed up the volcanic mountain on Montserrat, the one that has been blowing up on the island for years. We climbed that 3,000-foot mountain through Indiana Jones-type jungle. It was the craziest experience of my life. And on the way down, coming down on the other side, there was literally like a small landslide. The ground gave out beneath us. I grabbed a bunch of vines. The ground gave out. As the ground gave out underneath me, I swung back now over the empty air and slammed my back, my middle back, right into a tree. Like the worst feeling I could imagine. To this day, right now, no joke, I could take my thumb, this whole top portion of my thumb, and I could put it on my back, on my spine, and I could push it in between my vertebrae because that one vertebrae right there got shifted and dislodged in. So, and it's been like that ever since. I didn't go see a doctor. I didn't go to have surgery because I went to chiropractic. I tried that route, and that's why I'm a big believer of chiropractic personally. It worked for me. But anyway, long story short, I have a really bad middle of my back. When I was 18 into my 20s, I suffered and went through some of the worst bouts, and I started playing drums at 13, so this was through drumming. I couldn't walk at times. I would laugh. My legs would constrict and pull me to the floor. It felt like my entire upper portion of my body was bent back on a hinge. It was just the worst feeling ever. So sitting behind our drum sets, I can tell you right off the bat that we put ourselves into constant positions that are dangerous for you. And regardless of whatever you believe, regardless of what I may have even believed in the past, there is no throne on the market that is going to do anything for your back. Most thrones on the market will actually hurt your back. And that's what I want to start talking about right now is our lower back, because we sit on our throne, and I want to talk about the throne first before we get into seat height. When you select a throne, you have to be really, really careful. You cannot buy a throne because it's what your favorite drummer uses or because it's what every other drummer out there is using. You have to buy that throne because you physically went to a music store and sat your butt in it. You cannot order a throne blindly online and think that it's going to be great for you. Now, I have gone through every type of throne you can possibly think of. I have 6 thrones in my house that were all very expensive, and I use one of them. Now, people use wiggly, woggly, rocking thrones, which is just the stupidest thing ever because that motion right there is just treating your spine like a whip. Okay, so you got to stop that if you have that rocking thing. Another thing is companies are making split seat thrones. Thrones with 2 seats. Let me tell you something right now. That is one of the biggest things that's going to hurt drummers back there. I used one for years. So I have a neck injury. We'll get to that when we get to our neck. I have a very severe neck injury that I only had diagnosed in the last 4 months, but I have probably had for over 20 years or most of my life, okay? So I have a very severe neck injury that I'm currently going into rehabilitation and physical therapy for, again, because I'm not going for surgery at this time. But anyway, so I started having this issue with my neck, but it was getting so bad, it was becoming so bad, and I wasn't doing anything different. I couldn't figure out for the life of me what was happening to me. I'm using a throne that is specifically made for back pain and to alleviate pressure in the spine, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? My middle back is actually starting to bother me more, and that hasn't bothered me in years. My upper back, and then I was like, oh my God, now my lower back is bothering me. What is going on? It got so severe that about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I noticed my whole back, my whole spine was physically out of alignment. My right shoulder was dropped down like this. My neck was just going absolutely insane. I went and had an MRI. Turns out I have a full-blown rupture in my C4 and C5 vertebrae, which is above the Adam's apple, and I have a full-blown rupture in the C6 and C7, between the C6 and C7 vertebrae here in my throat. And like I said, I'm going for physical therapy. I'm going to upper cervical chiropractic care, doing exercises in my house, and I'm actually feeling better. But what happened is the split seat throne, because we're drummers and we shift our weight, it got the same effect that happened to men when we used to keep our wallets in our back pocket. So this is your butt. We used to keep our wallet in our back pocket, which would shift our hip height. Shifting our hip height would put a different compression on your spine. Because we try and keep our head straight, we would adjust our upper body to the opposite direction that our hips were shifting, and we would curve our spine and hurt our backs. Okay, those thrones that are split are doing the same thing. Guarantee, if you own one and you're next to it right now, get up and sit on it, sit there for 5 minutes, then get up and spin it 180 degrees. You will find that your strong side cushion is a lot thicker, and you will find your weaker side cushion is a lot more compressed, and that is absolutely 100% throwing your hips out of alignment behind your drums. So your throne absolutely has to be something that you take the time to figure out. I have right there in front of me a rock and sock saddle type throne. For me, sitting in the saddle type throne is very uncomfortable. I can actually take that throne and again, spin it 180 degrees and sit on that one on the back edge, that hard lip, and that for me is more comfortable than sitting on that throne the way it is. And I know there's a company the same shape, and there's a round company with the split throne. There's one like that, like the rock and sock with the split thrones. I'm telling you, if you have one, go sit on it and then turn it 180 degrees. That throwing your hips out is going to really put a lot of pressure and compression on your lower spine. Once that goes out, every link in your vertebrae from your butt to your neck will go out of alignment. And that's why you'll have problems from butt to neck when you walk away from your drum sets. One of the reasons. Let me take a drink and we'll get into a few others. The other thing that's happening is this craziness with seat height. I do not understand what is going on. Drummers are sitting behind their drum sets almost to the point where they're standing up. Their legs are almost straight. This is just insane. Here's why that's happening, first of all, and then I'm going to tell you what that's doing. What happened is we see drummers online sitting behind their drum set just like this. And when they're sitting playing their drums, their legs are at a normal, nice, even angle. When they stop playing, a whole bunch of them go like this. They put their feet all the way back by the stool. Now my legs are on this steep angle. So you see me sitting here going, so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna do a lesson on blah, 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 blah. And then I go, you ready? Here we go. I put my feet back up, but you do not realize that because I have never taken the time or they have never taken the time out to explain that to you. So you're sitting there looking at them at their calmest moment when they're talking, and you're setting your seat up based on that posture. Again, you don't know if that person is 5'1" or 6'1". That's one thing that's going on. So all these drummers are setting their seats up at these really crazy angles. Now, the only reason drummers really started sitting at really higher angles is because shorter drummers wanted to use 22-inch bass drums or more. For some reason, drummers didn't want to use 20-inch bass drums or 18-inch bass drums. Meanwhile, I'm 6'2", and that is a 20-inch by 15-inch bass drum, and it probably blows doors off of most everybody else's big bass drums out there. It is a monster. Anyway, I'm not here to boast about my beautiful cube drum kits. We'll do that another time. But back to what I was saying. That whole concept, because now you have a shorter person who wants to have a bigger bass drum, they have to have their toms up higher. So instead of them having to reach up to it, they're going to sit higher up, okay? Their heels are not even going to basically be able to touch the floor. Again, a misconception that we make now, thinking we can set our seats up like that, not understanding that height. So what happens when I sit at a really extreme angle? Two bad positions. One, sitting really low. The exact opposite of what I'm saying. If you sit, I'm going to show you from the side. Here we go. So I'm sitting right now. If I bring my knees up above my hip, what happens when I'm playing is I right now lower my back, my lower spine, okay? See that? Once I bring it down, my spine starts to straighten out. So if I even sit with my legs in a good position, here's a curve in my lower spine. If I bring my leg all the way up, now to the point where my knee's above, it's put that curve in there naturally. So drummers who want to sit really low at their kits and think they're really cool, like they're riding a Harley Davidson, they're curving their bottom of their spine and they're hurting it. Now, if I do the exact opposite, if we get to this point, there's that nice, beautiful, natural curve. If I extend my leg further, now that curve comes back. I've passed my natural point of comfort. I'm now extending my leg so much to a point that it's putting that curve into my spine. So now let me get back to my set, because I don't sit really low. That's just ridiculous. So sitting up high, too high. So let's pretend I'm too high. I'd have to stretch my leg out a little further to emphasize that. Now I've naturally put a curve in my lower spine, which is an unnatural position for it. So here I am sitting at my drum set playing, and what I do now is, because I'm so high over my drums, I lean down into my drums and I start to curve the middle of my back and my upper back, okay? And I'm lifting and compressing because of this shorter distance I've created. I'm causing compression between my shoulders and my neck. But getting back to this curve in our spine is absolutely detrimental. So again, I don't want to blow too much or talk about my DVD, but I'm going to say this one last time because I almost feel redundant doing this. I do not have a foot cam on here right now, but right now my feet are absolutely 100 flat on the floor. You see there's a curve here, there is a slight angle to it, that's fine. That angle should not be like this. If I lift my foot, right now, all of my toes are touching the floor and my ball of my foot is still on the floor. I have lifted my heel all the way up. I cannot stretch and open my foot more. I'm not forcing it or hurting it, but I've lifted my heel as far as I can. The ball of my foot and the toes are still on. If I slide my hand down my thigh, my hand slightly goes down. It should not go straight off, it should not go straight up, and it should not go down on an angle when my heel is all the way up. It should have a nice, slight angle down. So when I drop my heel, I have a beautiful position. Now, when I put my foot behind my bass pedal, obviously that raises your foot up off the floor a little bit. So if you lift your heel all the way up again, you're gonna now notice that your knee is basically almost the same height as your hip. It's gonna be just a tiny bit below your hip, so you're not working against it. In this position, I could sit, right? I remember a curve in my back. You have to have a practice posture. I once posted a little thing about a practice posture on a drumming forum, and a very elderly, grumpy drummer tore me up and was like, "Oh, you don't need a practice posture, you don't know what you're talking about." And I look at this person in their videos, and I know when that camera's off, they're like, "Oh, where's the Midol? Where's the..." Because they're probably in so much pain, honestly. So I'm sitting in this position, right? I've adjusted my stool now to my natural height and my natural personal ergonomics, not somebody else I saw on YouTube or on some site, not what some other drummer said, "Oh, dude, man, you got to get your stool up there. Raise that thing way up there, dude. You should barely be able to touch your feet on the floor." No, natural for you. So if I'm sitting here, and just like Tommy Igoe, you know, in Tommy Igoe's Great Hands for a Lifetime, perfect thing about putting your hands in the proper position on your snare. Let me even put a center camera on here. One more over, all right? So, my butt's on my throne, both. Now, I'm not sitting all the way to the edge where just those two bones in my butt are hanging on the edge of my chair. That's what happens too when you put yourself too much high, and that's putting too much pressure up on your lower back. You have to have the crease between your leg and buttock, that hinge, that has to be the edge of your chair. You can shift back and shift forward a little bit here and there for certain things you're trying to do, but your primary position should be your complete butt on the chair and right at the seam of those legs, sitting nice and down. Nice and down. Now, we don't want to lean back. We don't want to lean forward. We don't want to bend forward, and we don't want to bend back, side, nothing. So what we do is we take in a deep breath. You take in a deep breath through your nose, right? And when you let that breath out, you don't fold forward and don't fold back. Your shoulders come in, your chest comes out, your shoulders go up, your chest goes out with that breath, right? We expand, and when you let it out, down. Just let your shoulders and arms go down. If you put your hand on your back, you'll feel you have a nice curve in there because you're supporting yourself. Bringing your arms up to your snare. The last thing, you might be going, "No, my back is still bent a little bit, I don't feel it." Flex your stomach muscles. Once you tighten, you see that difference? Look at the difference in my head. Watch the space in the orange above. As soon as I tighten my stomach muscles, soft, tight, okay? As soon as I tighten my stomach muscles, there I am. Now, my legs are perfectly on the pedals. Nice and grounded. Whatever I want. Right? Feels great. My butt, perfectly on the stool. I can pick my legs up and balance myself with no problem. I'm on my stool. Now my stomach, my core. This is the guilty little elephant out there. Most of us have jelly donuts. We have soft stomachs because we just never work our core. And I'm not talking about getting up and doing sit-ups, and I'm not talking about doing anything like that. We're not here to play drums today, but you can sit at your drum set and do something as simple as this, no joke. Sitting in your good posture, dropping your shoulders down, getting your chest right, looking straight ahead, keeping your neck and everything straight and centered, taking your breath, dropping down, bringing yourself up, tightening up that stomach. Not to the point where you can't breathe, but tight enough to where it holds your core and frame up in a good posture. If you hold your stomach up like this and come up with a routine where you do this. A simple single stroke roll or around the kit, anything you want to do, holding that frame, excuse me, is developing your core muscles and your center, and that's going to help every bit of your aspect when you're playing at your drums. You don't want to sit at your drums playing like this. You don't want that. So if I'm sitting up like this, I feel really good. I'm not going to bother my back. Now you have to practice posture. When you go out to your gig and you go out showing off with your friends, of course you're going to get all loose. You're going to do all that. You're going to let your adrenaline kick in and stuff. But by practicing with a good posture, by just creating a little dynamic tension in your stomach muscles, tightens up your back muscles, it curves the bottom of your spine right, which is going to keep your middle of your back right. That good posture right there is the key, but it all starts with your stool and your throne height. And the distance of your drums is all going to lend way into that. And that's what I want to talk about. The last thing is the shoulder scrunching. You know, I see a lot of drummers playing and they lift their shoulders like this. That just kills me when I do that. When you lift your shoulders like that, your shoulder blades and everything, all the muscles are all constricting and going in. They're going in and creating tension and tightness right here at the base of your neck. Now, I don't know if you understand this, but that C6 and C7 area, that is where your nerves leave your neck and go down your trapezoids and down your arms and into your hands. So when we're going, oh, my hands are getting numb, my arms are hurting, my shoulder's hurting, my elbow hurts, it's not necessarily something you did here or something you did here, and it could be, but it could also be the compression you're putting on your vertebrae in your neck. So you have to remember, you don't play drums like this. You don't put your cymbals to where it causes you to have to lift your shoulder higher than your friggin' neck. You should never be playing drums like this. This is not how you play drums. You want to be completely relaxed. I have a slow-mo video on Facebook, and what I was amazed at is because I've been practicing, because of my personal neck injury, is I've been practicing to limit the movement in my shoulders. I was just doing triplets, you know, basic... And I'm sorry, I'm not even warmed up, but I'm not even moving my shoulders. I'm just moving my hands. So that whole position around your kit, my shoulders are at my elbows are at my side, my shoulders are relaxed. Even if I'm in this playing position, I don't even have to lift far to get there, even here. It's all right where I need it. So that whole position is really going to lend into the level of your drums does play a part in it, but I'm going to save that for my DVD. But listen, bottom line, your throne could be creating a real big problem for you. What throne do I use now? Again, like I said, I went through so many thrones. I thought about them logically. I looked at the way they're holding us and suppressing and compressing and doing all this. I ended up with one of the rock and sock thrones. You're not going to be able to see it, and I hate moving my throne, because I'm just OCD with positioning. So let's do this. We'll take it off. It's this. It's the rock and sock round throne, and it's got the divot. It's a little donut right in the center of it. I love this throne. I think it is probably the most comfortable throne for me out there. That's going to be the biggest thing. Your seat height, check your position, make sure you adjust it the way I said. Go back and watch this. I'll upload this to my Facebook page. So make sure you watch it, because that heel position, that test on the floor, putting your foot down and adjusting it and getting your height like that, you're going to have to go around and adjust the height of your floor tom, your snare drum. All that stuff is going to change once you do that. You know, you're not just going to raise your seat up and then adjust yourself to the set. You can't do that, because that's one of the things that are compromising our position. Remember, your spine, when it comes up off your butt, off your coccyx, your spine is going to have a curve at the lower body, behind your stomach. It's going to curve in. When it comes up towards your chest, your spine is going to start to contour in. Right when it reaches the base of your head is where it's going to go in, and then your cervical spine should have a nice curvature. But since we all sit in front of our computers and look down at our mobile devices, most people's vertebrae in their necks have gone straight and they've lost the curvature. And that's one of the things that have happened to me, but I'm glad to say that I'm starting to slowly get that curvature back in my spine as we do this physical therapy. So everyone, you know, I have been now for over 3 years. 3 years, been expressing the importance of good nutrition and good health and treating our bodies really good for being a drummer and for existing in our life. And I've been doing this for 3 years, and still within 3 years, a whole group of people have accepted this and they've started to treat themselves better. But there is still a whole mentality amongst drummers out there that think they can survive on McDonald's and fast foods and they can party all night, or that their lives are just so perfect they don't have to worry about that. And they're creaking and cracking and aching their way through life. And it is unnecessary. Good sleep, good posture, good nutrition. These are all very important things. But what's most important is getting your body moving and using it properly. Cardiovascular exercises are fantastic. These are all things we can be doing for ourselves to keep ourselves going better. And remember, you're back. Go online. Go to YouTube. Look up a reputable instructor who does like strengthening on their backs. Buy the DVD, subscribe to their site, get some treatment going, get your back going, work with resistance bands, start building up some of that upper muscle in your back and in your shoulders. It's really going to pay off in the long run, I promise you. But don't just start jumping out there and doing these silly exercises and stretches you see drummers doing because some other drummer's doing it. And these are the things that are hurting people's wrists, and these are the things that are damaging us as drummers. So we've got to adjust our egos and make sure that we know that we do need to exercise and eat better. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I'm actually talking real fact. Logical common sense. So everyone, if anybody has any questions, I don't know if anybody's even watching this right now. I saw like 2 students or 1 student, Rachel, in the chat room. But if you do have a question and you're watching this, you can submit a question. I'll check it in just a minute. It's jaislive@gmail.com. jaislive@gmail.com. And to touch base on something now that a student had recently asked about Rebound. And this absolutely has to do with what we're talking about today. A student asked if they really need to practice Rebound, if it's something important. 100 gazillion% yes. If you're not practicing Rebound, then that means you're playing your drums and holding your sticks mostly like that. You're literally lifting elbow down like this, letting all that shock and vibration go into your elbows and your wrists and your fingers. Rebound, that's Rebound. The stick is bouncing. I'm just controlling it. Right? That's Rebound. So if I'm not using Rebound and I go around my drum set without Rebound, and I'm going to over-exaggerate it, the stiffness, right? So, right? It looks like... right? That's because you're not relaxing your hands. Not talking about fluid motion or anything. I'm not going to change my position. I'm just going to relax my hands a little bit. Not a lot, not jellyfish hands. I'm just going from here, really crazy tight grip, to here. Letting the stick have that much wiggle room because there's no microphone on that drum. I'm sorry. See the sticks coming up? So understanding that control, that's rebound. All that is enabled by the fact that I am letting the stick bounce up off the drum and reciprocating with it and catching it. If I'm not doing that, then that means I'm creating tension and I'm trying to go, and I'm tightening up my body and I'm hurting my back, I'm hurting my neck, I'm hurting my middle back, I'm hurting my spine, I'm hurting my coccyx. I'm just making my muscles ache. So rebound. Practicing rebound, simple rebound practice. And not even, we're almost up to 100 lessons on my new site. I've started even incorporating some of the lessons from the old site because they're fantastic, but we're already up. We're doing like 5 to 8 lessons a week at the new site. And I'm, just your free stroke, practicing that, your finger technique, just understanding rebound. Practicing this, all that stuff is what makes your playing become more relaxed. The development and repetition and the understanding of the freedom of rebound and reciprocating with it. That's what's going to enable you to play relaxed. If you're not playing relaxed, you're playing tense. If you're playing tense, you're hurting yourself in the long run and possibly even quickly. If I lock up and just turn the wrong way, I could be like, there we go. I have literally my vertebrae. If this is my spinal cord, my vertebrae, I should have put a picture up to show you. My vertebrae was pushing into it so much that there was about that much space left before, boop, from my neck down, I was just shut off. So I'm still in a very fragile and dangerous place, and I'm trying to be really careful, but hell, I'm sitting behind my drums and I'm playing, I'm mowing my lawn, I'm living my life, and I'm carrying my baby. And you know what? I'm 47 years old. If I did not make the changes nutrition-wise and fitness-wise to my body, and trust me, thought-wise, this is a practice of waking up every day and creating a discipline for yourself mentally and physically to change these old ways about myself. Eating Oreos and 2-liter bottles of soda and all that crap. Smoking cigarettes and just hanging out and staying up all night. All these things, not exercises, that became my life. And I'm sure many of you out there, it's what you're doing in your life too. And I promise you, if you just start paying attention to a little bit more of your body and what you're doing and how you're acting and how you are behind the set, you're going to feel so much better. Am I sitting here saying, hey, so do me a favor, click that link below and now send $1? I'm not asking for anything like that. This is, I could possibly be wasting my time. 6 people may watch this video. But for me to at least get it out there and take the time to express this, I know as a human and as a drummer, I'm trying to get out there and express my care and concern for my brother and sister drummers out there. So let me see if anybody does have just a hi, a hello, or anything like that. And if not, that's it, man. You guys are gonna get to go, enjoy your Saturday. I'll get to go hang out with my boy Sagan and my wife and my son Kyle and just chill out. Let's see, so I'm gonna refresh it, and that's it. This is what I do, even for my students. I just refresh it like this, and I give them a couple of minutes to get in their question. I'm gonna just take a look at the chat room. I honestly cannot even probably see how many people are in here. Maybe if I activate this, it'll let me see. Can I see it? No, it's not even telling me how many people. I could see myself on screen, oh, hi. I see Rachel, I see Tim Goffer, I see Cars 10. Awesome, man. So yeah, there's a couple of people in here. GL Hades, okay, I know you. I know you from Facebook. So that's cool. There's a couple of people in there. Nice, nice, nice. Very cool, very cool. So, all right, here we go. One more time, refresh my phone, see if anybody is there, and there you go. That's it. I've checked it. One more time. Da, 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 da. That's it. Everybody listen, Go enjoy your day. Go have some fun time with your family. But go into your studio. Start right there. Sit in your throne. See how it's feeling. Check that height. Do that little test I did and start from there. And I promise you, if you just make those little adjustments alone, eat the Oreos. Don't exercise. Don't touch your toes. Just make those little adjustments alone. I guarantee you, you're going to be feeling a lot better behind your kit. All right, everyone. I'll see you really soon. Thanks so much for your support. I'm JS, and this is MyDrumLife.com. Take care.